Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of the Supra. This time it's actually running under its full power. So we read all the comments of your guesses on horsepower. Everybody seemed to be around the 650 horsepower mark, but we made horsepower on boost only. On this episode, we're gonna be buttoning up the interior. We're almost there to the finish line with that. The only thing left is the amps. From there, we are going back into the engine bay, tidying up the rest of the things that we need to get dyno ready and get to those power poles. Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of the Fast and Furious Supra. The interior is partially completed now. The only thing left is to do the amps and the amp stands, but the dash is in, all the gauges are wired, everything's lit up, seats are in there, the steering wheel's finally in there. The stereo system got wrapped in its pleather vinyl, and that's all fitted and formed in there. It's bolted down. We just have the tub covered up right now until we get those amp stands set up. The hood is finished, it's painted, it's been fitted properly, all the gaps are lined up. So let's get to Joe working on this hood. Alright, so before we head over to the dyno, we took care of some of the issues that we were going to foresee. So we made sure that there was not going to be any boost leaks. There was 2 T-bolt clamps we had to change. They were a little bit too compressed, so we went ahead and changed those out. We made sure all the vacuum lines were secured, zip tied. Everything that was plugged was also zip tied. I did leave a few vacuum leaks open. Thanks to Adrian for fixing those up. We did do a blow-off valve block-off plate because this is an original old-school Apexy blow-off valve. It's not rebuilt, it's not reconditioned. We don't know whether or not it even works. So to avoid any issues, we just put a block-off plate for now. That's all the compressor surge that you're getting in the sound that you're gonna see in the clips to come. It was essentially ready to go. We topped it off with E85 all the way to the rim. We're only gonna run it on E85 because it's always gonna be the safest way to drive this car. So that way you get max power, anti-detonation, and you're just good to floor it whenever you want. It does have the ability to run on pump gas, but you are not going to be able to get into boost on pump gas because the factory wastegate spring that is in this right now, it jumps to 24 PSI. On pump gas and 24 PSI,
that's a no-go.
So you're only going to be able to limp it to the gas station if you have to. We were driving it around, we were getting like kind of this like rumbling rotational noise from the center console rear of the car. The engine is freshly rebuilt, so that's bulletproof thanks to Adrian, and we knew we weren't going to have an issue with the motor. I had Adrian jump into the passenger seat with me so that way he can pinpoint where this noise was coming from. It turns out that it ended up being the transmission. Now the V160 we thought was at some point rebuilt based on the previous owner's description of it. We're like, okay, let's just go through and change all the fluids again. So we changed the diff fluid, we changed the transmission fluid, and we're like, all right, let's just hope for the best and go to the dyno. After the dyno, clutch has been broken in, it's seated, there is no more transmission noise. Other than that, this car is golden, it's ready to rip. All right, we're gonna head on over to Danny at Unrivaled Tuning, get this car loaded up on the dyno and see what it makes. All right, we're back at Unrivaled Tuning today with the Supra, and he's gonna go ahead and do some drivability tuning first and get onto the power pole, so check this out. All right, so we're back from the dyno. Our numbers are incredible. We made 814 horsepower and 685 foot-pounds of torque. That is done at 26 pounds of boost. It carries it all the way through the power band. Once it hits full boost, it is linear. Power comes on super hard. It's way more aggressive than we anticipated, but we knew that the first pass out, when we were just with minor adjustments and we were at 720 horsepower at 21 pounds of boost, we knew that this thing was going up there, and it did. This thing is nasty. It squats on the dyno, which we're gonna show some clips of that right now. What everybody called it was dyno active aero. The front end was lifting over an inch, and it's just crazy to see on the dyno because you're not literally putting the power down to the ground, you're putting the power on the hubs of the dyno. So it's just crazy to watch that front end lift and that rear end come down. It's just nuts. This car's crazy, and again, that's on boost only. We're not sure what nitro shot we're gonna throw at it, but it is gonna make more power still. All right, that's gonna do it for this video. The car runs great, it made awesome power, it sounds amazing. Now we're ready to hit the streets. We got invited to some events that we can't really talk about yet. definitely be seeing you guys out there on other events, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Yo, raising the Tobagos, we growing like fresh tomatoes. Them boys on fire, tu fuego, we pass it round hot potato. Everything is nuevo, I'm with my sweetie like Quavo.